We followed the plan because it was the safer option to take. They can't switch their jobs even if they want to. But that's the very thing that is holding you back. Even if the answer is right, for some absurd reason, their ego would get hurt. They're okay with you failing if it feeds to their reputation game. The truth is, most people don't want you to fail. They just don't want you to exceed their own limitations. You are told to play safe when the safety net itself is full of holes. There's no single book or course that can help you out in this situation. Movement doesn't mean progress if you're running in circles. But if you know what you're doing, you can exploit it really well. It will help you much more than having just a 2-3 lakh rupees certificate. Okay, let's say you did everything they told you to do. You went to school, you studied hard, you got good grades, you finished your college, and finally, you secured a decent enough job. You stayed out of trouble, you didn't take any shortcut, you followed the plan because it was the safer option to take, right? But now what? Every month your salary comes in and it just disappears. Rent, groceries, EMIs, birthdays, a relative's wedding, that random medical bill, something or other always eats up the money. You are not jobless, you are not poor, but you are not happy either, are you? You are just stuck. But how did you get here? Here's the truth. You didn't make one big mistake. Instead, you took 1,000 wrong turns. But it's not your fault really. You were always set up to be obedient instead of a problem solver. Think back for a moment. Just let's go back to school. Did anyone ever encourage you to ask questions? Or did they just want you to memorize answers? Most of us were told the same thing. Sit quietly, do your homework, and most importantly, follow instructions. And if you question anything, or for example, solved an equation using a different formula than what you were taught, even if the answer is right, for some absurd reason, their ego would get hurt. That's how, from a very young age, our education system teaches us to be the passengers instead of the drivers of our own life. And we carry this mindset to our adulthood as well. So, we learn to play safe, blend in, nod along, do our task, and be polite. But that's the very thing that is holding you back. Today, companies want people who can solve problems, not just follow orders. But again, we were trained the opposite, right? And unless we learn to think differently, no matter how hard we work, we'll always end up in the same place. And how does it work? Again, as I mentioned, it's not just about one big mistake. It's about a lot of micro decisions that we take over the years. And they don't even look like mistakes. And guess what? That's what makes them even more dangerous. And how do they look like? You pick a job nearby and you stay in your hometown even though there is no real opportunity for growth. Why? Because you're scared to move alone. You stay in the same company over the years even though you know that they don't reward or appreciate you that much. Now on its own, none of these choices are horrible ones. But over the years, it feels like you're trapped in a situation of your own making. And guess what? It's not you alone. A LinkedIn study showed that 1 in 3 professionals in India feel like they're sleepwalking through their careers. They can't switch their jobs even if they want to. But why not? Because again, it feels safer. And when familiarity becomes a trap, trying something new always feels a lot scarier than it actually is. Again, I'm not just talking about our professional life. How many people do you know who felt pressured into a marriage by their family even when they were not financially stable? And make no mistake, marrying before you are financially stable in today's world is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. Yet, this is really common. And why is that? That's because we take life-altering decisions out of guilt and fear instead of clarity. And the result? A generation quietly thinking the rules that they have followed so far are probably not even the right ones. Here's the other side of the coin. Let me ask you this. If your boss fired you tomorrow, would you be able to earn enough to pay your rent? Most people can't. And that's not because they are lazy. That's because their skills need someone to tell them what to do. And this skill gap is much more concerning than you might have thought. Most graduates coming from Indian colleges today are not even employable. And that's because when we were busy learning how to ride a bike by reading books, actual companies are looking for people who can get things done without being told how to do it. So to fill the skill gap, what we do, we take a lot of courses, right? But even the people who are taking those courses, how many of them are doing any better? Not many, right? That's because you need to build something. You need to show it to the world. You need to collect real life feedback. You need to make adjustment in your processes so you can make it even better the second time. And that's why you need to take a lot of risks. However, in many Indian homes, the biggest fear isn't failure. It's the log kya kahenge mindset. They're okay with you failing if it feeds to their reputation game. For example, if you fail at government jobs 5 times a row, they will at least show you some form of sympathy, saying, okay, at least you are trying. But if you fail even once trying to launch a startup or trying to, chase your passions, then they will say that you have just wasted your life. You will often hear this line that it's better to earn less if it helps you sleep peacefully, right? However, it is the low income that is keeping you sleepless at nights. 78% of Indian millennials say that they feel financially stressed, and that's with full-time jobs. Now, what does it mean? It means that you are not really stressed because you have taken a lot of risks. You are actually stressed because you haven't even taken the calculated ones. Again, you are told to play safe when the safety net itself is full of holes. And that is especially in a country like India where saving money is a lot harder. And still, trying something new feels like a crime. Even when you succeed doing something on your own term, the very people around you, including your family members, will often try to downplay it by questioning its stability. For example, I myself come from a small town. And during COVID, I started writing for Medium.com. And within a few months, I got published by the biggest publications of Medium, like Startup, Better Marketing, Mind Cafe, Writing Cooperative, and many more. So at the time when most people my age were wasting their life chasing government jobs, I was up against the biggest bloggers in the world. I was creating my own audience and I was making good money. Now, did I receive any form of validation for doing so? I will leave that to your imagination. The truth is, most people don't want you to fail. They just don't want you to exceed their own limitations. And that's why they try to pull you down with absolute desperation. So, how do you get out of the pool? Forget about hacks. Start focusing on more substantial shifts. There's no single book or course that can help you out in this situation. If you want better results, you need to start doing things differently. You need to show discipline, consistency, and most importantly, clarity. Your degree helped you get into the room, but what keeps you in there is what you bring to the table. Your employers, clients, and even your co-workers care more about your ability to solve problems rather than where you have studied. Ask yourself this: what can I do to solve someone's problems? Or what can I do to solve some business problems? If you are a designer, you can build 2 to 3 projects around solving real life problems. For example, redesigning a government website's UI to make it more user friendly, or create a portfolio around your local businesses to pull new audience. It will help you much more than having just a 2-3 lakh rupees certificate. Learning tools is basic, but delivering real outcomes is valuable. And that's why you need to build credibility in your own market. It doesn't matter how many people say that you are talented if you can't show it. Today, people want to see results, reviews, before and after comparisons, and case studies. And that might be a bad news for imposters. But if you know what you're doing, you can exploit it really well. How so? Instead of just writing in your CV that you know video editing, you can just show them. You can just take a raw clip. You can cut it. You can add some music into it. You can improve the pacing, and you can also add text animation and share the result online. You can show the before and after difference. And if audiences react well, it shows you mean business. That's why you need to look beyond just working hard. Yeah, sure, working hard has its place. But if it doesn't take you anywhere, it means you lack leverage. And leverage is like building a toy that keeps spinning long after you have done pushing it. But again, how to do it? Start with skill stacking. It means learning small but powerful skills that build on top of each other. For example, you learn how to write clearly. Now you can communicate better at your work. Then you learn basic design, for example in Canva, and now your presentation also stands out. Then you learn basic marketing tactics, and now you can know how to pitch really well. Now combine them all together and try to enhance on it year after year, and then see how valuable you become. Again, one skill on its own might not change your life, but if you combine them all together and keep honing on it year after year, they become really powerful. It all comes down to focusing on your direction instead of just speed. If you look around, you will see that there are people who work more than 12 hours a day and yet they feel behind in life. And why is that? Movement doesn't mean progress if you are running in circles. So how to choose the right direction for you? First, understand this. Whatever you're trying to achieve, chances are there are people who are already doing it much better. All you have to do, find them, see what they're doing and learn from them over the years. You don't have to copy them. You can take whatever you need according to what you're building and you can forget about the rest. You get to pick and choose what you want to learn, and even if you have a full-time job, you can easily take an hour or two from your weekend plans and start working on your side projects. Always remember this, slow yet consistent growth is much better than no progress at all. As Bill Gates said, most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10. You don't need more hustle, you need better direction. And you actually don't need more information, you need better filters. Just think about it. And I will just leave you with that. Thanks for watching.